So will Trump send the military to multiple American cities as he's already doing right now? This is just the beginning, and how far will it go? That's sort of today's video, and I want to give you guys the latest headlines. Courts confront militarized cities as Trump tests waters with National Guard deployments. Listen to what Karen Levitt has to say about this stuff.
But no local officials that you can point to that have said we need the National Guard. Because I spoke to the police chief of Portland last week. He said that the president's claims just don't match up with what's happening on the ground.
I would encourage you as a reporter to go on the ground and to take a look at it for yourself, because there's been many members of the press, not press in this room, but independent journalists, some of whom we'll be inviting to the White House very soon to share their stories, because they have been in the middle of these riots and they have witnessed the anarchy that is taking place night after night. It's on video. You should play it on your show. You have a great opportunity on prime time on CNN to show your audience. Yeah, but you're probably talking to partisan Democrat officials who are opposed to everything this president does. You should also ask the people who live in Portland. We've actually heard from many members of the community who have said that this is complete civil disobedience. It's a mess. It's been loud. It's been troubling for neighbors in the community who are just trying to live peacefully. And these people are not there to peacefully protest. They are there to cause mayhem and havoc.
So that's what we're talking about here. So Karen Levitt's going to make the case, well, you know, everyone in Portland is causing mayhem and havoc, therefore need to send in the military. And the other thing that they're going to do as well, talking about the Trump people that are probably going to use like right-wing influencer kind of people who aren't going to report fairly. They're just going to pick and choose what they want and effectively try to paint Portland or whatever city is being, in Trump's words, a hellhole. And therefore we have to send in the military. This is what Trump's saying regarding the Insurrection Act. Check this out.
President, what? The Insurrection Act, under what conditions or terms would you?
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe.
Right, so Trump threatens to invoke Insurrection Act in Portland, says city has been on fire for years. This is from the Portland local news. Again, this is my hometown. I can promise you has not been on fire for years. And again, Trump's whole thing, and that's why I had to show you Karen Levitt, is they want to create a fictitious problem. Even a Trump-appointed judge was saying that Trump is untethered from the facts. It all goes back to, say, the presidential debate where Trump is like, they're eating the cats and dogs. It's that kind of stuff. And so if you have Elon Musk on your side and you get all of these, right-wing social media people, and they'll go just basically post nonsense nonstop, then people essentially believe this fake narrative. I don't know how else to put it. Portland's not on fire, hasn't been on fire for years. I do want to make it clear, though, that Trump wants to incite a problem, and then therefore he said, then I can send in the military. This is Trump's own words. He says, look at what's happening with Portland over the years. It's a burning hellhole. That's according to Trump. And then you have a judge that's lost her way, that tries to pretend that there's no problem. And again, that was a Trump-appointed judge. And the judge was also saying, too, as well, that this is a nation of the Constitution, not martial law. If you don't know, basically Trump, if you declare martial law, is, hey, we're going to have to suspend your freedoms for your own safety, therefore we have to send in the military. And this is also, too, where governors are pushing back around the country. So this is in Illinois. Listen to Governor Pritzker.
I think they can fool us all into thinking that the way to get out of this crisis that they created is to give them free rein. Well, that plan will only work if we let it. The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noam's thugs the hell out of Chicago.
And I have to just restate this stuff so many times. The main problem that I have with what the Trump people are doing is they're ignoring the Constitution, they're ignoring due process, they're running around with masks. They're doing things as quickly as possible, shoot first, ask questions later. It is not a good situation. And I always want to have an honest conversation about this stuff. And the language that Trump used, I get what they're doing. It's all about gaslighting. Well, Trump's like, but while we want the things to be safe, and he went on, if you want to watch what Trump says, he says a lot of stuff, but he's like, we're going to send in the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, whatever it takes, right? That kind of stuff. So I would agree. I want people to be safe. So we can agree on that. I want people to be safe. but I also can see what's going on where Trump is instigating stuff. I mean, you can see it. And then people on the other side, and I just want to tell you how it is, they'll just say, well, no, Chris, I see that there's chaos in the streets, etc. So what are people upset about? They're upset of, again, skipping the Constitution, skipping due process, forgetting about how, right, this thing is supposed to work. The way Trump does stuff, it's so many things that are illegal, and then he'll get upset at judges all the time. And let me put it in the most simplest terms. Who are the people that Trump really don't like, right? He really doesn't like education. Like, think about this. Just let this stuff sink in. He really doesn't like those judges, right? He really doesn't like the law. What kind of people talk in that way? And it should be so obvious. And what's so strange, I guess, for some people in the USA, it's not obvious anymore because you have these alternate, reality bubbles that we live in. And I'm just trying to speak frank with you guys. If you have someone like a Trump who's leading the people in the wrong direction, saying, ignore your teachers, ignore education, ignore the judges, right? ignore the Constitution. That's not the person that I want to hang out with, right? And then they'll gaslight you. And I'll show you guys this because I want to talk critically and openly about this stuff. This is Stephen Miller. Listen to stuff how he talks about it.
You called a legal ruling legal insurrection. Are you recommending the president take action against judges whose rulings he disagrees with?
No, it's simply a factually accurate statement that when a judge assumes for him or herself the powers that have been relegated or delegated by the Constitution to the president, that is a form of a legal insurrection. And we have seen...
Insurrection carries a legal weight, so are you recommending...
We have seen, over the last 9 months, a ongoing legal insurrection in which district court judges, as a class, in many cases, have issued, which is why they've been overturned so much, have issued rulings that are flagrantly unlawful and unconstitutional. And it is an insurrection against the laws and Constitution of the United States. And we need to have district courts in this country that see themselves as being under the laws and Constitution and not being able to take for themselves powers that are reserved solely for the president. One more question.
And that's the fight right there, right? Is how much power does the president have? And, from Miller's point of view, it's like, all these courts and judges, they're trying to take away Trump's power, right? Like, just they let this stuff sink in. And that's why I wanted to talk in a reasonable way about this stuff, because I know emotions are high in these things. And I even myself get upset when I see this stuff because I just feel like constantly, these people keep trying to up the temperature. But the whole fight basically boils around Trump wants to seize more power. I mean, you can see it on a daily basis, and they complain if judges try to limit Trump's power. But that's the whole system is where, right? You have the checks and balances. This is like grade school stuff that we all learn in school in USA, right? I grew up in USA, and this was something that we would herald as part of our democracy. I mean, we fought for the system for years, and you want to make it better and better and better each year, right? You want to improve it, make sure that people have a voice. Make sure people have a vote. You make sure people, you ensure people's rights. These kind of things, and no person should be a king. I mean, this is a fundamental to understanding U.S. history. Like, and people who celebrate and because like the people and the Trumpers stuff like that, they'll always want to go back. Oh, we got to roll things back 200 years and stuff like that. I was like, okay, well, let's look at history. I mean, that was the whole thing. Is the USA was like, hey, we're going to be independent, right? I'm telling you guys the history of the country. And also, regarding the history of the country, there's been struggles for years which have not yet fully been addressed and still are addressing on a daily basis, talking about the history of slavery in the USA or the Native American land being taken. I have to bring that stuff up because what happens is that people like Trump and things, they try to cover up that darker past, right? And this is part of education, is understanding how do we get to the point that we're at. And basically what a lot of it boils down to is people are struggling economically. Trump comes in and says, okay, you're just going to blame the black and brown people. That's what ends up being. And waves his dog whistles, and then he'll try to seize more power. And then he'll complain whether or not, judges are blocking him from doing unconstitutional things. And now Trump basically wants to send the military everywhere to control stuff. And you can see how their strategy then is to try to control the media narrative by having their right-wing influencers like your Benny Johnsons and such go in and show you like all the great, ICE people that they have. And I just want to tell you the truth on this stuff. It is a tough time right now, and you won't find many honest conversations about these things. And I'm willing to have any of these conversations. I go through everything with you guys. So right now, this is what we're facing. Courts confront militarized cities as Trump tests the waters with National Guard deployments. And then you have this. This is the lawsuit from Illinois. The American people, regardless of where they reside, should not live under the threat of occupation by the United States military, particularly not simply because their city or state leadership has fallen out of the president's favor, right? So essentially, if Trump doesn't like a city or a particular politician, then he's going to send in the military. That's not a system that is sustainable. It's not a system that we want in the United States. And it's something that you do need to be aware of, pay attention to this stuff, because unfortunately, this is, and the way that I see it is, Trump sort of in his, final legs of his presidency power. He sees the end coming, right? He's running out of friends, running out of allies. And essentially, it's like the last sort of grasp for power. But I just don't think it's going to last. So please stay vigilant. Please stay safe. Be careful out there. And I'll catch you on the next video.